graders, I'm going to try and explain this page to you so that when you are working at it today at your desk, it makes a little bit more sense. So the division problem that we have is 1 8/10 divided by 4/100. The first thing they want you to do is identify which one of those is the smallest place that we have. And remember, the farther that we get away from the decimal, I want to turn on my comment, it's on here. So if I've got my decimal right here, and that's going to be hard for me to do, if I have a number right here that's a 3, that's closer to the decimal, so that's the largest number. Maybe my next number is 7. That's getting smaller. If I even did another one, it's even getting smaller. So what they're saying is, what is the smallest place value? Remember, this is the tenths, the hundredths, and the thousandths. So this one is in the tenths place, this 8. This 4 is in the hundredths place. And that's the smallest place value that we have is the hundredths. So they're saying now what we need to do is take everything, make both of these numbers, this one and this one, in our hundredths, and it will make it easier to divide. So when I look at 1 8/10, I think, okay, I've got my 1 square, and there's one, and remember I'm trying to get to hundredths, so there's 100 in here. Terrible to write with a mouse. And then of this next square, it says I have 8/10, so it would be like 1 2 3 4 5, that's 6 7 8. So if this one has 100 and each of these tenths has 10 hundredths, I would have 180. That's how they got 180 right here. And then the 400ths is already in hundreds, so how many do we have? 4 of them. So now that we have that, we don't have to worry about trying to do something with these decimals when we divide. We can just say 180 hundredths divided by 4 hundredths, and they set it up over here just like we would set up any division problem. 180 divided by 4. 4 goes into the 1 0 times. They don't put the 0 there, but it's kind of like it's an unspoken 0. So now I'm looking at the 1 and the 8, and I know that 4 will go in there because 4 times 4 is 16. So I subtracted the 16, brought the 100 down, or subtracted, I'm sorry. Oh, they did it different. They did partial quotes. Never mind. They knew that 40 times 4 was 160. So that's where this 40, they didn't do it the traditional algorithm way. They looked at 180 and said, hey, what's the closest that we could do with that? So they did partial, and they did 4 times 40 was 160. They took that away, did the subtraction. We got 20 left. How many times will 4 go into 25 times? The 40 plus the 5 equals 45. So there's your answer. Okay, now they want you to do the same thing down here. The exact same thing that we just did up here. So if you get confused with what to put in these, you need to look up here and think, how did they do it in the example? Because it is the exact same thing, just different numbers. I see that they have 1. This one up here was 1 8/10. This one is 1 200. So you're still going to think about your boxes. The 600ths, well, that's pretty easy, just like we did it up here. So you're going to fill in those numbers, and you're going to actually do the division. Then you're going to tell me what the answer is. You should be able to do that one pretty easy. This, don't have to do this one today. Did you use partial quotients? It's not concerned. Now, how would you prove your answer? Just like in reading when I'm asking you to prove. Check your answers to problem 1 by writing the decimals in a multiplication. So after you have your answer, you have to work it backwards. Remember how I'm going to put an A right here. So once you have your answer, now we go backwards. So your answer times 600ths should equal 1 200. And so you have to put whatever your answer is, put that one in there. And then in this one, you're going to put 600ths. And when you multiply, and I want to see that over here, you should have 1 200. That's why you're checking to make sure that it works. Okay, you can do this, right? True an equation. Is 1 2300 the same as having 1 2300? Yes or no? Is 5/10 the same as 50 hundredths? Yes or no? Is 74 hundredths the same as 7 and 4/10? And is 1088 hundredths the same as 1088? You may have to draw those boxes to help you think it through. Focus on what these questions are asking you. No wild guessing. That's not helping you as a math student. Number 5, Jaden buys 1 1/15 pound of cheese at the deli counter. If each slice is 5/100 pound, how many slices of cheese does she buy? We're dividing. We're in a situation in a unit right now where we're dividing. So this is what it looks like when it's set up. Now, the book, oh, that's terrible decimal, but you know what I'm doing over here. The book has been teaching us to make these into our lowest place value. So that would be the hundredths. So they're wanting you to do like we did on the other page, first and second. I have another way of doing this, and I'm going to teach it to you right here. This decimal is over here making this a partial number, and you cannot divide with a partial number. You cannot do it. So in order for me to make that a whole number, I have to multiply it by 100. When I multiply it, moves that decimal. 1 jump, 2 jumps. Now I have to do the same thing over here. So 1 jump, 2 jumps, and then when we divide, we take that decimal and we move it straight up. So now I am not doing this 0 at all. I have 5 in my divisor, and I have 115. So it's 115 divided by 5. You should be able to do that. And then down here, I want you to attempt to do this one also. When we slow down and we read, what is it asking me? And you know that you're going to have to do some division, and you're trying to figure out what should this person do. This looks like a 2-step problem. You can do 2 kinds of division over here and see if you can get that to work. Okay, Ray feeds his dog 12 grams of dry food. He wants to buy the smallest bag. Should he buy the bag? Let's buy enough to feed his dog for 1 month. If he feeds it every day, I guess they're going to multiply by 30, because you got to know how many days are in a month, and that's 30. So how much does he have to have if he feeds his dog this much? 30 times that is how much he has to do. Should he buy the bag that has 1.8, 2.4, or 4.2? Okay, I think that you can figure it out from there. Think math. We got to get these.